Hi, this is Dawn Wells. Guess what we're listening to? TV Confidential.
My name is Duke Madsen. I was an actor. I ran the biggest Hollywood underground poker game there ever was. Then I made the stupidest bet of my life.
$1 million walk to Vegas.
7 days to walk to Vegas.
Brad Robertson welcoming you back to TV Confidential, radio talk show about television that is happy to welcome Mr. Vincent Van Patten. Pretty much everyone listening tonight knows that Vince is the star of 8 is Enough star Dick Van Patten, as well as a very, very successful actor in his own right. Some of you probably know that Vince was also among the best tennis professionals throughout the 70s and 80s, beating the likes of John McEnroe, Ilie Nastase, and Vitas Gerulaitis, and ranking 25th among the top tennis players in the world at the peak of his powers. What you may not know is that Vince Van Patten is also a world-class poker player, having developed a passion for poker at a very young age with, I understand, with the help and encouragement of his father. Vince's knowledge of the game, and just as important, his knowledge and understanding of the various characters who play poker for a living and the often crazy bets that they make among each other, is at the heart of a new movie called 7 Days to Vegas that we'll tell you more about in just a sec. But first, Vince Van Patten, welcome to TV Confidential.
Hey, thank you so much. Good to be here.
Good to have you. 7 Days to Vegas, I understand 7 Days to Vegas is a comedy about a man who ends up having to take a walk from L.A. to Vegas in 1 week's time as a result of losing a bet. I understand it is based on a true story and that you are that man, but I also understand that it was not necessarily a story that you wanted to make into a movie. Can you elaborate on both for our listeners, please?
In L.A., and then it went through to about 2008, and it got bigger and bigger, and the players were playing. We were playing for a lot of money, but it was the characters. They were interesting, and they used to like to bet on anything. So we made crazy bets over the years. And one of the bets I made, actually, was that I could walk to Vegas from L.A. in 7 days. And they all came to watch me fail. And it was for a big amount of money. Now, a lot of this is fictionalized. Mm-hmm. So some of it's true, some of it's fictionalized. 7 Days to Vegas, it comes out September 20th, but it was a whole lot of fun making.
It was a whole lot of fun making. I've had a chance to see some of the footage, and I can't wait to see the whole movie when it is released on Friday, September 20th. 7 Days to Vegas will be released in select theaters across the country. It will also be available for streaming on demand on various platforms beginning Friday, September 20th. Now, I sat down and I did the math, Vince, because that's what I do. As the crow flies, it's about 280 miles from where you were living at the time in the valley to Las Vegas. It's about 280 miles. Now, I happen to walk a lot, and I walk about 3 miles an hour, which I think is a pretty good clip. So if I were to make that trek, it would be like 93 miles a day, 13 hours a day walking. How long did it take you to do that?
Well, if you're going to make 280 miles in 7 days, you got to average 40 miles a day. Mm-hmm. That's tough. I mean, now you can walk in this bet that we made. You can walk or run. You can walk at night sometimes. There's a lot of restrictions you'll find out in the movie. But basically speaking, it is a very tough bet to make. This was 15 years ago where I was younger, I was stronger, and that was what that was all about.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, like any smart person, you don't make a bet unless you're pretty sure you can carry through on the bet in the effect you have to come through. And as we alluded to in our open, you've been an athlete all your life. So even though you were in your mid to late 40s at the time you made the walk, you were in a lot better shape than a lot of people their age. So it was not that much of a challenge for you in that respect.
Well, I can't say because of the movie. I don't want to ruin it whether I made it or not.
Okay.
Okay. But it's a fun thought. And, I like to describe the movie as the Hangover Meets The Sting. There's a lot of crazy characters. It's a good cast, ensemble cast. And, it's coming out Friday and then VOD on next Tuesday, the 24th. Video on demand.
Yes, and for more information, go to 7days2vegas.com. That's numeral 7, 7days 7daystovegas.com, 7 Days to Vegas, the new movie starring our guest, starring and written by and produced by our guest, Vincent Van Patten. Now, this is not your first go-round as a movie maker. You've written several movies. You've directed several movies over the last 20 years now, having grown up in a show business family. You mentioned your father was the great actor Dick Van Patten. He acted all his life. Your mom danced with the June Taylor Dancers. What first attracted you to the idea of producing and directing? Was it just watching people on the various sets that you spent time with?
Well, from time to time, we like to make a movie, independent picture. My brother and I, Jimmy, and we made The Break a few years ago about tennis, 20 years ago. Anyway, I didn't want to write. I sat down and wrote this with a co-writer, Steve Alper, by the way. Steve Alper. He's quite good. I always like to write with a partner, and we came up with 7 Days to Vegas. But we did it because I didn't want to get involved with another movie because I'm doing the World Poker Tour. I'm the commentator for that for 18 seasons, about sports, and didn't really want to do it. But then finally my wife and I saw a movie about 6 years ago, and it was about Hollywood. And it was it could have been so interesting. It was about the inside of Hollywood people, and it wasn't very good. And at the end of it, I said, it's a shame because I think people like to see the inside of Hollywood and what these big people are like and a little slice of life. I go, but it kind of missed the mark. And she said, that's why you have to do your movie, your story about your Hollywood people and your poker game. And I said, okay, I guess you're right. And so I went back to the drawing board and started writing 7 Days to Vegas, and that's how it happened.
7 Days to Vegas is Vince's story. It's the movie that Vince stars in. He also co-wrote it and produced it. 7 Days to Vegas premiered earlier this year to rave reviews at the Palm Springs Film Festival. RiotMaterial.com calls the movie pure comic genius, while Vince just said himself, he describes the movie as the Hangover Meets The Sting, and as I said, I've seen enough of the preview footage that I definitely get the Hangover vibe. It's been many years since I've seen The Sting, but I know the basic story, so that's a very good description, the Hangover Meets The Sting.
Hey, also, I think I'm a lover of movies that are about gambling and the con world and all that, because I kind of grew up in that with my father. He was such a degenerate gambler, and he taught me everything, and I was playing in his poker game at age 14. So I appreciated that style, and I always look for those kind of movies. But I realized along the way there's not many really good ones because they're always just dark, and there's no joy to it. And in my life with gambling, there's been a lot of joy. There's been a lot of – it's a spice of life to have this gambling and these side bets. And so that's what I wanted to write about, a clever story, a funny story about funny people that aren't necessarily pathetic, that are very interesting, that you're drawn to. And that's what I think we have a bit in 7 Days to Vegas. 7
Days to Vegas is a comedy about the world of professional poker players and the often crazy bets that they make among each other. It will be released in theaters across the country on Friday, September 20th. By the time this program airs, it will be available for streaming on demand. For more information, 7daystovegas.com, numeral 7, 7daystovegas.com. You talk about how off-screen your dad was this really competitive poker player. And I have to say, Vince, because when I think of Dick Van Patten, I think of that cherubic face. I think of that effervescent smile that he was known for. So it was kind of surprising yet fun to know that he was as competitive as anybody when it came to poker.
Oh, absolutely. By the way, you can go to clubwpt.com and win some nice sweepstakes and stuff for 7 Days to Vegas as well. But getting back to my father, yeah, everyone thought he was from 8 is enough, just this, squeaky clean father. No one realized that he had this other side that was wonderful and rich in loving the gambling world and the racetrack. And his whole life was to work so he could run to the racetrack and play poker at night. And at 14 years old, I used to watch him in our kitchen in an apartment in the San Fernando Valley play poker at least 3 times a week with his cronies. And I would be fascinated. I'd be sitting in the hall and learning the game. And eventually he taught me the game when I was about 10. And at 14 he said, all right, you love the game. It's good for you. Get the game. Put up your own money and you can play in the game with these guys. So I did. And there was guys like Don Adams from Get Smart and Gabe Kaplan and John Huston, the director, and my father. And I played in a game where you could win or lose $500 to $1,000 a night. And I learned, but I was good. He taught me, and I was good, and I would beat these guys, these adults. So that was my beginning of that world. And then I have to say, at age 15 and a half, I started driving, and there used to be there was big poker games in Gardena where you had to deal yourself in Gardena, California. And I would drive down there, and I'd put a fake beard and mustache on, and I would play for over 21 in the poker games in Gardena. A glimpse of my degenerate life in the poker and gambling world.
Vince Van Patten is our guest this hour. He is the writer, producer, and star of 7 Days to Vegas, a comedy about the often crazy characters that populate the world of professional poker. The movie also features Jennifer Tilly, Chad Lowe, John O'Hurley, and Vince's wife, Eileen Davidson of The Young and the Restless. 7 Days to Vegas will be released in select theaters across the country on Friday, September 20th. It will also be available for streaming on demand on Amazon and on iTunes on Tuesday, September 24th. For more information, 7 Days, numeral 7, 7days2vegas.com. What was the website you mentioned a few minutes ago where people can enter into a sweepstakes?
Yeah, clubwpt.com. And that is with the World Poker Tour, and that's the show I do, the World Poker Tour, for 18 seasons now. But on top of that, Ross McCall, Paul Walter Hauser, my brother Jimmy Van Patten, Willie Garson, Lucas Bryant, John O'Hurley, James Kyson, Danny Pardo, and Don Starker in the film. So it's an ensemble piece. A lot of funny actors.
A lot of funny actors, and in a lot of respects, Vince, it is an homage to old Vegas.
Yeah, yes it is. I love Vegas and used to go there in the 70s with my father, and I think it's just a true story about what gamblers are all about, and the word is their bond, and the things that they had. I mean, shenanigans they go on. That's why it's sort of like the Hangover.
Yeah, it's also a movie about the camaraderie, the brotherhood or the brother and sisterhood amongst professional poker players and why they play and why they love the game so much.
That's right. Exactly right.
Let's see. We mentioned earlier that in your 20s you were one of the top tennis players in the world, and you took a very unusual path because a lot of athletes, they pursue acting at the end of their playing career. You're one of the exceptions because you started off acting and then you pursued athletics and you excelled at athletics and then you returned to acting. Why do you think so many athletes become actors, and why do you think so many athletes excel at being actors?
Well, I think, I was an actor first, of course. I was a child actor from age 9 through 18 and did all kinds of shows and movies and big things. And I played tennis on the side. I was never taught how to play tennis. I was self-taught. I used to actually hit against the soundstage wall in between takes when I was doing the series Apple's Way. Mm-hmm. That's how I got better. But it was a miracle that I made it and broke it through in tennis and became top 25. I don't know how it happened. I don't know how I did it. It was just sort of like out of anger. I had to beat those guys. I had to prove something. And that's how I made it in the world of tennis. But a lot of great athletes in sport love to come to acting because it's an exciting business to do after you're an athlete, of course. And they're good because if you're good in the sport, if you're great in the sport and you excelled in the sport, you have to have a certain drive and a competitiveness that will get you to the same place in acting. I mean, you will focus, and you are obviously talented. So that's why I think a lot of athletes go to acting, and they're good at it.
Plus, this is my theory, Vince, with both acting and athletics, there's a very special relationship between the actor and the director or their acting teacher, and it's parallel to the relationship between athletes and their coach, in that it's professions that where you kind of rely on the help of a teacher to drive you, to motivate you to perform at your top level possible when the lights go on, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I think even the actors that were athletes that aren't that good, and they make it because first of all, they usually look good, great shape, and they have that confidence that I could do something, I can make it happen. I mean, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, he just believed it and said he was going to do it. No one believed him, and he did it. So I think that's where that's coming from. You
mentioned that you were self-taught. That amazes me. Where do you think that drive, that tenacity came from to push yourself to excel at tennis?
Well, I tell you, I was a bad junior player. I wasn't even ranked in Southern California. No one really gave me a chance. I was self-taught, and but people kept saying it was, you have no chance. You're not going to make it. I remember I was hanging out with a few buddies, tennis players, and we all went to the bowling alley in between the tournament matches, and and they all were talking, and they would say, hey, what are you going to do when you grow up? Blah, blah, blah. Everybody said something. They looked at me, I said, I'm going to be a tennis pro. They all started laughing. They said, Vinny, you have no chance. What are you talking about? You have no chance. And it was that type of thing that happened constantly. My whole life as a junior tennis player, I went, gee, I gotta beat these guys. I gotta figure out a way. And I started lifting weights before it was a thing in tennis. No one lifted weights. They said, oh, you can't lift weight. I did it because it made me feel good and made me play better. I started doing unorthodox things, and I think that's what helped me. And I really studied the game and figured out, how am I going to beat that person? And so it happened. It was a miracle.
Well, I would say it was only partially a miracle. It was a miracle that happened because you dedicated yourself to doing the work and putting in the hours of practice to make yourself as good as you possibly can be. And that's the difference between you and a lot of people who say they're going to do it, but you actually put in the work.
Yeah, I also think you have to have that thing where you're a gambler. You have to be able to come up with a big shot in tennis at the right time and have the guts to pull the trigger. You figure it out and have the guts to pull the trigger. And I found that when I went into the poker world, it's the same exact thing. You have to have the guts to pull the trigger on a big bluff when you're playing in a big game. And I have that part of it. I'm a little crazy that way, but I'll just take that chance, and it's an educated guess, and I'll pull the trigger. And some people can know you're supposed to do that in poker and in tennis, but they know you're supposed to do it, but not everybody can do it, I think.
Vince Van Patten pulls the trigger in his latest movie, which is called 7 Days to Vegas. 7 Days to Vegas, a comedy about the world of professional poker players and the often crazy bets that they make among each other. We'll take a quick time out, then we'll talk some more with Vince here on TV Confidential.
Buying or selling a home can be one of the most stressful things we'll ever do in life, but it doesn't have to be. And no one knows better than our friends at Front Porch Realty Group. They're a community of realtors serving the Northern Bay Area of California that cares about their clients as individuals first and foremost. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to lease or sell your property in the Bay Area, Front Porch Realty Group will help you through this important transition by providing you with the right information for your situation while lessening the pain. They also work with a network of realtors throughout California who provide the same high caliber of customer service. Call Front Porch Realty Group at 415-886-7411 for a realtor referral near you. You can also visit their website, frontporchrealtygroup.com, for more information on the services they provide, including upcoming workshops and seminars. For more information, call 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com. Front Porch Realty Group. They'll find the solution that works best for you.
Want a free first ride with Uber? Uber, the mobile app that connects you with a ride at the touch of a button in minutes. Enter promo code TV Confidential after you download the app to receive your first free ride up to $20. For more information, go to get.uber.com/go/TV Confidential.
Hey there, this is Wink Martindale, and you're listening to TV Confidential.
Attention sports fans, now you can watch every football game you want all season long without leaving your home with Dish for about $50 a month. Compared to your cable bill, you can save almost $600 a year. Call right now and sign up for Dish and watch every football game you want. With Dish, there are no boxes to pay, plus get free installation as soon as tomorrow if you call now. And with Dish Anywhere, you can watch your favorite sports and channels on your smartphone, tablet, or laptop. Be one of the first 100 orders right now and get a free voice remote. Don't miss a single football game all year long and save a ton of money. Get a free voice remote and free installation as soon as tomorrow. But you gotta call All American Dish right now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251.
Miss the show? We have more than 500 hours of archived editions of TV Confidential available on demand as digital downloads. For more information, go to shop.tvconfidential.net.
This portion of TV Confidential is sponsored by The Misadventures of Biffle and Schuster, the hilarious side-splitting new DVD available through Kino Lorber.
Hi, this is Ed Asner, and you're listening to TV Confidential.
You're probably wondering what the hell I'm doing out here in 105-degree heat. Make that 106. I wasn't always so desperate. For the last 10 years, I made huge cash and lived like royalty with the Hollywood elite as we gambled through the new millennium.
Ed Robertson, along with our guest Vince Van Patten. Vince Van Patten, son of actor Dick Van Patten, and the host of the World Poker Tour on Fox Sports 1. Vince Van Patten is also the star, producer, and co-writer of 7 Days to Vegas. 7 Days to Vegas, a comedy about the world of professional poker players and the often crazy bets they make. RiotMaterial.com calls 7 Days to Vegas pure comic genius, while Vince himself described the movie early in the program as The Hangover Meets The Sting. 7 Days to Vegas will be released in select theaters across the country on Friday, September 20th. It will then become available for streaming on demand on Amazon and iTunes on Tuesday, September 24th. For more information, 7daystovegas.com. That's the numeral 7daystovegas.com. And plus, as Vince mentioned earlier, if you want to enter that sweepstakes, go to clubwpt.com. Is that the right website?
Yes, yeah, there's always things to win on clubwpt.com. And for my show, the World Poker Tour, you pay a monthly fee and you play all these games and tournaments, and there's always things to win. So we're doing a promotion with 7 Days to Vegas on that site, clubwpt.com, where you never lose a dime playing poker. Guaranteed. That's my pitch to you.
Yes, clubwpt.com. Why do you think so many of us love the game of poker, even though we may not be good at playing poker ourselves?
Okay, it's so simple. It was a secret game for so long. Like my father knew how to play it and certain people, but most people didn't understand it or play it very often until the late 90s. World Poker Tour came out and you got to see the cards. And my boss that hired me for the World Poker Tour had that vision. He said, if I show the cards in a camera, people will understand what greatness is really happening. And so the game of poker exploded, and now it's a huge thing. But I love the game, and I think most people love it because, look, you don't have to have the best hand in order to win. You just have to have the smarts, the street smarts, to pull the trigger on a bluff. So you're watching genius. You can outwit your opponent. You're playing is put up or shut up. It's bragging right. It's just a brilliant game.
Well, I'm thinking aloud here, which is a very dangerous thing, Vince. But I'm thinking so much of succeeding at poker is being able to read the room, read what's going on the rest of the table, and sensing whether your opponent across from you really has a full house or is just bluffing. And so it in a lot of respects, that's where you draw on your skills as a performer, because acting in its essence is reading the room, reading your acting partner, and reacting to what they're giving you. And that seems to be why a lot of professional actors are drawn to poker. What do you think?
Yeah, there's some great actors that play a lot of high-level poker. It's about reading people, and it's also making them talk. If I can get people to talk at the table and I start to ask them questions, I will figure them out most of the time. So that's why it's a great game. You can talk. You can ask the guys questions when they made a huge bet, and you can try to figure it out. It's like a big puzzle. And it's your reading techniques. What are they showing you? What are they telling you by saying that? Like strong, when they act strong, usually means weak. I mean, that's an obvious old tell, and vice versa. So that's the beauty of it. And there's a lot of, Ben Affleck and Tobey Maguire and James Woods. They're great performers, but also great poker players as well.
Was your father a talker when he played poker, or did he keep his cards close to his vest?
He would make them talk a little bit. He was very good. But he played back in the old school game, 7-card stud, 5-card stud, 5-card draw. As soon as they hit Hold'em in the mid-90s, he wasn't quite as good. I'll have to say that. Plus, you know what? He didn't have much money in the 70s until he had 8 is enough. He didn't have much money.
Sure.
So he was a much better player back then when he needed the money. Once he made a little money on 8 is enough, his game went way down.
Of course, your father, I understand, was a very good tennis player back in the day as well.
He was a hack player. He taught himself. He learned to serve at the International House of Pancakes. I used to make fun of him saying that. But he loved the game, and he would play singles every day, and he would beat players that looked much, much better than him. So no one wanted to play him because he was unorthodox. But he loved the game. He'd play for 2 hours in the morning. He would jump in the pool, go to Santa Anita Racetrack, and then play poker at night. he had the perfect life.
Well, I would imagine, Vince, that somewhere in the great ether, your father is smiling because with the release of 7 Days to Vegas, because it's a movie that captures your passion. In a lot of ways, it's an homage to his passion.
Oh, it's totally a tribute to him. I mean, he taught me the game. And he never frowned on, oh, Vinny, don't go to the track, don't gamble. He always just said, I understand. If you love it, you'll find a way. Just don't go too crazy. And he trusted that. And I never did. I did okay through it all and had some great stories to tell. So I think he would be appreciating this for sure.
Okay, so 7 Days to Vegas will be released on the 20th. It will be released on streaming on demand and many other platforms. You still do the World Poker Tour for Fox Sports 1. What else do you have on the horizon that you're at liberty to tell our listeners?
Yeah. By the way, it's iTunes first and Amazon. That's where the video on demand will be. But that's it. I'm just mopping up and just finishing up, getting the movie out, and then I'm going to take a rest, and then I go back to World Poker Tour Season 18, where we travel the world, and I commentate on the poker. Still playing a little tennis. I'm hacking around. 3 kids and a beautiful wife, so I'm enjoying life. That's it.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying life. I very much have enjoyed this conversation, Vince, and I hope one day you'll visit us again on TV Confidential.
That'd be so great. Thanks so much for having me.
Vince Van Patten is the co-writer, producer, and star of 7 Days to Vegas. 7 Days to Vegas, a comedy about professional poker players that is also based on a true story. That true story being the time that Vince found himself having to walk to Las Vegas from his home in the San Fernando Valley, all by foot, as a result of losing a bet. 7 Days to Vegas will be released in select theaters across the country on Friday, September 20th. It will then become available for streaming on demand on iTunes and Amazon on Tuesday, September 24th. For more information, 7daystovegas.com. That's numeral 7, 7daystovegas.com. For more information on some of the sweepstakes related to 7 Days to Vegas, go to clubwpt.com, clubwpt.com.
Become an advertiser or underwriter of TV Confidential and let our brand help promote your brand. To find out more, go to televisionconfidential.com/advertise.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.